everybody! In today's video, I'm just going to be showing you my recent hair color that I did on myself at home. It's very similar to what I had done last time, which I did post on YouTube, but I just wanted to give you guys an updated version because the formulation is a little bit different. So I will not be showing you guys how I tone my hair in this video because I do have quite a few videos on that, and I have one dedicated video specifically about toners and what to use, how to use them, and everything like that. I'll be leaving that link down below if you are interested in checking that out. So I'm just going to be showing you guys the foil technique that I am using. It's basically like a foilage, which is a balayage in a foil. I think it just conducts heat a little bit better and is a little bit more predictable than letting your hair process at open air. So I'm going to be showing you guys how I do that. In the video, I do show you what my hair looks like after the highlights before I toned, and you will see why I needed to tone when you see that. It lifted to a pretty light blonde, but it was pretty brassy. So I just wanted to give you guys a little heads up on what you are about to see. I don't think I have anything else to say, so let's go ahead and jump right into the demo. So you're obviously going to be needing your lightener. I have mine mixed up right here. And the consistency of it, you can see it's still kind of clinging onto the brush there. You don't want it to be too runny or else this will not work too well. So the lightener I am using is by GK. It's the GK lightening powder, and I am using a 30 volume developer. If you have never done your hair before, or you are not licensed and you're just doing your hair at home, I do only recommend using a 20 volume developer. I don't recommend it going any further than that, but I know my hair needs a 30 volume for what I am doing specifically. And the reason that I am using it is because I am a licensed cosmetologist, so keep that in mind. I do hair in the salon full time, and I have had my license for about 5.5 years, and I have been doing my hair almost that full time as well, so I sort of know what my hair can handle and what it cannot. So I do not recommend going above 20, but I want to be honest with you guys in the fact that I am using a 30 volume on my own hair. You may also need some foils. I just pre-cut some foils here, and a highlighting comb to section off, as well as a few clips to section your hair. I'm gonna go ahead and do the back in the bathroom just to make it a little bit easier, and then I'm gonna come back and show you guys how to do it. So I have a few in the back done. I just did one on each corner and then one in the very back. So now it's time to move on to the front. For the front, I am going to be sectioning just because my part does change a little bit in the front. But when you think about the back of your head, no matter what, this hair is always going to lay over top. So I'm going to be doing just a few sections, probably 2 on each side in the front, just so you guys are aware. If you are somebody that parts your hair exactly the same every day, then you can probably go ahead and just go off of where your part is. But because I don't part my hair exactly the same every time I wash and style my hair, I'm going to be doing 2 sections on each side. So it's going to section like this. So you can see this is the under section there, and there is the other section. So there really isn't, probably like a 1/2 inch, so not much difference there. So I'm just going to be clipping that out of the way. So this is how I do it in the salon as well, and I plan to do it similar to my own hair. In the salon, what I like to do though is take a full section like this. So I will hold this full section and then paint on the V. And that's how I do it in the salon. But doing it at home, I feel like you can't get the exact same amount of tension in the hair like you would on somebody else. And having to work on the side of your hair or the top of your hair or the back of your hair is a little bit more difficult on yourself, so you do have to adjust when doing it at home. Just keep in mind that this is the sectioning I would take while doing client's hair in the salon, and then I would do the V and then blend in that midsection there. But because I'm doing it at home, what I want to do is just look for where I am wanting the highlights at. So basically deciding where I would be doing that V on myself, but doing it just in a different way to make it a little bit easier. So I want probably a highlight around this area here, and then another one around this area here to blend in with this midsection here. So I'm going to be taking a piece of hair about this big, and I'm going to be holding it as tight as I possibly can. You want to make sure that you do have quite a bit of tension in your hair, because if you have it really loose, you can see that there are hairs under here that are not going to get colored the way you want. It's going to create splotches. So you do really want to make sure that you're putting a lot of tension on the hair, almost like you are pulling your hair. and that is one tip that I have when doing something like this at home. I'm going to be taking my lightener. I just have a little bit on my brush here, and it still is more of that thicker consistency, like I said. So you just want to hold your section really tight, and I'm only going to be going until about here where the blonde sort of tapers off, because all of my blonde from here on down does not need lightener touching it at all. It will break off. So you do want to be aware of what is on your hair currently as well. You do not want to be overlapping where it does not need to be overlapped. So I'm holding it nice and tight, and what I like to do is start in the midsection and gently start to apply. Just in that midsection there. And if you have to readjust, go ahead and just re-grab that. I'm not going to be pushing too hard, so if you look underneath, I don't have any lightener underneath, it's only on that top bit there. So I'm going to be going down to that blonde area, and then what I like to do to blend up into the top area is take the brush and start to sort of push it up. And that's just going to distribute a little bit of the lightener into that area, just like that. Just going to apply a little bit more in the midsection and then feather it upward. Another thing you can do to diffuse that line is take it and just kind of rock it up and down like this. And that also helps to diffuse that line there. So then what I like to do is use a foil, and I do like using foils on my client's hair as well. I don't like to open air lighten at all. I just think it's a little bit too unpredictable for myself. So I'm just gonna go in with a little bit more lightener on the brush, and then go in and just do that midsection, just applying a little bit of pressure, just so there's a little bit more saturation. And while still holding that bottom, I'm going to just go in and make sure that it's still nice and blended, because I don't want it to fully saturate any higher than that area there. I only want to fully saturate it where you see that I actually applied the lightener on the foil. And then from here on up, I still want it to be a very subtle looking highlight, just more of a nice blend. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this up and do the exact same thing to this little front piece here. So you can see that I am leaving a little bit of hair in between. Because here is the hair from that first section here. That's where that ends off. And then this one is going to end off about here. So we do have a little gap right where you can see my two fingers. Just doing the exact same thing. I'm going to start moving a little bit faster now. So starting in that midsection, going down to where the blonde is, and then kind of flicking up. Then you just want to take your foil, lay it down, and then add a little bit of lightener to that midsection for a little bit better saturation, and then go ahead and flick up. You just want to let that next section down and do the exact same thing. I'm just holding this whole section in my hand because this is the one that is more than likely going to be showing. So I know that I'm going to be putting one right in the front. I might be putting one there and then another one toward the back. You do need to add a little bit more lightener toward the top if you want to go up a little further. I still do recommend applying the lightener to that midsection area, and then you can feather it on up just to apply a little bit more, just so you're not oversaturating it toward the top, because you do want it to blend nicely with your natural hair that is growing out as well. And then what I'm going to be doing is taking my finger and just grabbing the hair that is right along my hairline. And I'm going to be taking this whole section and starting down where the blonde already sort of is. I'm just going to be feathering in a little bit of lightener in those areas. I'm not putting it in a foil or anything. I'm just going to be letting it process at open air because I am not doing too much. I'm going to be just adding a little bit more because there wasn't much on my brush. but I'm just going to be going in and feathering some in, making sure there are no harsh lines because I do pull my hair up. So if you are somebody that pulls their hair up or wears their hair in different ways, then I do recommend doing this. You can put it in a foil if you want, but I'm just going to be sort of placing it there and just letting it kind of do its thing. So I did the exact same thing on this side. I just did a couple underneath and then a couple right on top by my part, but I did clip it out of the way with this clear clip here. So you can see that I do have quite a bit of hair on this side just because this is the side I part on. I part right about here, and then all my hair comes this way. So I do have more hair on this side, and I don't part my hair in the middle or anything. If you are somebody that parts in the middle, I would recommend doing this all the way around your face. But because I do part my hair more on this side, I still want a few pieces a little bit thicker on my face. So I'm going to be taking a piece of hair right here and just weaving out this little bit of hair that I'm going to be doing the exact same technique on, and then putting this little piece in a foil, but I'm going to be putting the foil behind it so that it's going away from my face, if that makes sense. So instead of putting it down like this and painting on this way, I want it to be more hidden. So I'm going to be doing it on this side so that when it lays down, there is still going to be a little bit of depth and darkness on top of it. So I'm just going to be taking the hair like this and doing the exact same thing as before and going right into that midsection, right to where it kind of gets brassy. So just like that. And then I'm just going to be feathering by my outgrowth area. Doing the same thing with just taking this hair that's right along my hairline and just doing what I did on the other side. So after the highlights were done processing, I shampooed my hair and it was time to tone. Towel dried hair and did it in 2 separate processes. I used 3 different color formulations, so keep that in mind that the reason I'm not really showing you how I'm toning is because it's going to be different on your hair. I'm using what had to be done to my hair in the areas that needed to be toned differently. You need to use different color formulations, so also keep that in mind if you are doing this at home, that you are more than likely not only going to be using one toner, you may need to use a outgrowth toner, a toner for your mid shaft, and then a toner for your ends, which is exactly what I needed to do. So I'm going to be looking down because I do have the formulations in front of me. So I'm going to be going over exactly how I did it, but you will not be seeing the actual process as toning is a little bit difficult to film, and I do have videos dedicated that I will be linking down below where you see that I am toning my hair. I have one video that's dedicated all about toners and when and how to use them, so make sure to check that out if you are a little bit more interested in a more in-depth video. So the first process, I did my mid shaft and end area, avoiding my outgrowth. So the mid shaft I used around 0.7 ounces of 8.7, which is a sand blonde in the level 8, and then I mixed that with 0.3 ounces 8.11, which is a double ash in the level 8, and did that with a 10 volume developer. So that was for my mid shaft, and then for my ends I used 10.7, which is a light sand blonde, and then a 10 volume developer, and then I let that process for the full 30 minutes and rinsed and shampooed, and then it was time to do my outgrowth area. So for the base toner, I did mix 2 colors and they were a 1-to-1 ratio. The first color was that same 8.11, which is a double ash in the level 8, and then I mixed that with 6.1, which is an ash color, which is a level 6, so it's basically a light brown dark blonde, and I mixed that with the 10 volume developer, and I did not really go past this area that you see here, because from here to here I basically used that mid color, and then where you see this light hair is where I used that level 10. So I only used that base color where I wanted to darken up a little bit and get rid of the extra brassiness so it wasn't so bright and in your face. And then I also let that process for 30 minutes as well. Keep in mind that I overlapped a little bit, but I didn't really drag down that base color just because I wanted it just a tone to blend in with my natural hair color. So keep that in mind that I did do a double process after the initial process. That was only because I did not think that I would be able to apply 3 different color formulations in the correct manner. So that is why I did it in 2 separate processes. If you are comfortable doing it in one, go ahead. But for me personally, even as a hairstylist, I was not comfortable doing it to my own hair. So I did not do that. That is why I did the 2 processes. Obviously, this is the outcome. You can see that it is pretty blended, but still a light blonde color, which is exactly what I was wanting. You can see that the highlights do come up a little bit further. So as my natural hair grows out, it will be pretty well blended as well. When I do a different color process on my hair, I do like to film it to show you guys how I do it. And then if you have any questions, comments, concerns, go ahead and feel free to leave those down below and I will help you out even further. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I hope you stick around and subscribe, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye everybody.